Arcade Perfect, my Arse. Right, okay guys, welcome to another Arcade Perfect My Arse. This is where I take a look at an arcade game and I compare different home versions and see if they're pish or not. So this one I'm taking a look at 1989 Atari game Stun Runner. Now I have to be honest, I don't remember, I certainly never played this in arcades and I don't think I ever saw it in arcades. But the games that came out about this time from Atari, you know, things like Tubin, and they were they had a very distinct sound. I think obviously the sound hardware they were using, games like Paperboy and that as well, they all had that very recognisable. So yes, Stun Runner, I mean, I suppose you could say it was like a very early Wipeout. You need to remember this was way before the PlayStation came along, and this game would have been regarded as pretty cutting edge. Now I don't know how this runs. I mean, I'm running this in MAME obviously. I've no idea how well this is running compared to the arcade game. I don't see any reason why this would be any slower or whatever than it should be running. But yeah, I mean I suppose it's fairly impressive for its time. I guess playing it in arcades, you would have had it on a big screen. I don't even know, did you have a sit-down version of this at all? I'm not quite sure actually. So yeah, you've got various pads which increase, give you kind of turbo boosts. Now I don't even know what kind of controls this had. I'm guessing it would have been an analog sort of controller of some sort. But this was a massive step up from, you know, what games had gone before. Even like something like Outrun. Outrun did look and does indeed look quite prehistoric compared to this, but I certainly know what one I would rather play, and it's not Stun Runner.
You have completed level 2. Good luck.
I have to be honest, I wasn't a massive fan of Atari games from this point. I'm all about the original, the real kind of vintage Atari games. But obviously Atari had to try and compete with the market, and, you know, come up with more cutting edge titles. I mean, sound-wise, does sound pretty good. I don't know if I'm going to die here. Is my power running out or something? I'm trying to actually see. No, it's the timer actually. It's about to run out. There we go. Oh, nicky time. There you go. Got 19, sorry, get 19 stars and finish level for Shockwave.
Good luck.
Now, the funny thing is, Atari's own 800 had a really nice colour palette, and it probably could have done a fairly decent version of this. But I don't think it ever came out for Atari. I think that had long kind of disappeared as a commercial thing by this point. It appears I've lost one of my wings on the left hand side. Even this, it's not running at 25 frames a second. I wouldn't think it's not running at 30 frames a second. That's the thing. Nowadays we've become used to games running at 60 frames per second, but that wasn't really a thing back in 1989. And out of time. So yeah, that's arcade one. let's take a look at some home versions. Right, kicking things off, this is the Amstrad one. Nice little intro bit there to begin with. So we want to go for, yep, number 3 joystick, press fire to start. Yeah, let's skip the practice level. Right, okay. Yeah, this is pretty much what I would expect to get. You know, you're not going to get some sort of behemoth. I don't know what sort of hardware the arcade was. You're absolutely not going to replicate that on an 8-bit machine. So, yep, you've got the little stars, all present and correct. That sort of stripy road thing, that was a favourite sort of effect that they used to use in all these, for a lot of early kind of 8-bit racing games, you know, to kind of give an impression of speed. But I suppose in Stun Runner, that arcade used that as well. I don't really know what to say. I mean, it's certainly not atrocious. It seems to move fairly smoothly. The little green stars do come towards you quite close, or quite smoothly. There appears to be a complete lack of any music. And the sort of I wouldn't say 3D, the movement effect is all right. Now, for some reason, it seems to keep stopping. Don't know why it keeps doing that. See, it keeps kind of slowing up and then speeding up again. No idea why. Come on, I don't know why it keeps stopping. No idea why it keeps stopping. So, I mean, all in all, not a bad version. Like I says, what do you expect? What do you expect going from some multi-processor behemoth, arcade behemoth, and going on to, you know, an 8-bit machine with about, I don't know, what kind of memory we're talking about, 48K, something like that, after you've taken off the operating system, whatever. I suppose the fact that they even thought about releasing this game is a brave step. So anyway, yeah, that is Amstrad. Let's crack on. Right, this is the first 16-bit version we're going to look at. This is on the Atari ST. It's got a bit of sampled music. And even a bit of sampled sound. Not the greatest, I have to say.
Good luck.
Right, yeah, what can I say? It's kind of got decent enough colours. The movement's not too bad. I don't know what kind of frame rate it's getting. It's probably not quite as good as the arcade. It certainly doesn't have the colour graduation. Don't know why they couldn't have, because I mean Atari ST does have a decent colour palette. And it's got some kind of scratchy sound or scratchy speech. Thing is, Atari ST has obviously got the resolution, so it can kind of replicate the sort of the screens in between the actual action. And for some reason, we've turned into some sort of wireframe version of ship. Just for a few seconds, don't know why that was. Must have been a pickup or something. thing about a game like Stun Runner in arcades, it was, like I says, it was using specialist processors. You know, it was a behemoth compared to home machines, and it's really all about. It's all about the, you know, the wow factor. You know, you're trying to wow arcade customers. You're wanting them to stick money into the machine, and when you try and replicate that on a home system, it's never going to have the same wow factor. You know. And the thing is, a game like this, I think, strip away the graphics, and it's a pretty mediocre racing game. And a lot of the game is played out in complete silence. You've obviously got the sort of the rocket sound, and you've got the explosion sound when you kill something. Apart from that, it's pretty much quiet. Yeah, it's hard to know if you're coming or going with this game sometimes. It's a bit kind of messy looking. It's almost more of a kind of technical demo than a game, I would say. But that's down to the base game itself. I don't think Stun Runner as a game is a particularly good game. It's more about just trying to show off what it can do, and then you stick that on a home system, and it's never going to look as impressive.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. That's Atari ST. Then now sticking with Atari systems, this is the Atari Lynx. And there weren't a lot of games released for this system.
Welcome, Gun Runner.
Some nice sound, nice music.
Good luck. Stay off the rails.
Now, the speech in this is pretty clear compared to the Atari ST. It's actually really clear. You can hear what she's actually saying. Nice use of graduation. Now you need to remember, I don't know what you're watching this, if you're watching this video on your phone or if you're watching on a 55-inch TV, you need to remember the Atari Lynx had I don't know what the screen size was, it was about 2.5 inches by 1.5 inches. It wasn't a big screen, so this would look more impressive on the smaller screen, but I have to say the use of colour in this, even some little sound effects. Well, it's not a great game, this is actually quite an impressive conversion. You would think that Atari would try and get a decent version on their home systems for obvious reasons. Obviously the visuals in this are not exactly crisp, but again you need to remember, this would be played on a small screen and they would look probably more impressive than they do on a bigger screen. I do like the music in this, it's good.
Good luck.
Even updating in this one is better than ST. Yeah, some decent sound effects in this version.
You have completed level 3.
Yeah, that's nice. Well, that's Atari Lynx. Right, okay, on to the C64. Presentation wise, it does look nice. Right, now, either this has crashed, or I have loaded up a beta version, or indeed, could this be the finished version? I mean, the sort of the polygon tunnel looks alright. It's pretty much what you would expect in the C64. I'm not quite sure what these squares are meant to be. Was it just simply they were too lazy to actually program them to actually look like stars? Because it looks unfinished. I'm assuming that's what they were designed to look like. I mean, look at the presentation there. That looks really, really nice. They've obviously taken their time to get the graphics done properly, and then they've just stuck these big bloody ugly squares. What's that all about? Oh, that's a flashing square. Oh, hang on, there's a sprite. At least there's a bit of sound in this, which you'd kind of expect. I mean, you would expect the C64 to have decent sound. I wouldn't go as far as to say the drone effect is decent, but at least you're not playing in complete silence. Yeah, presentation wise, this is actually nice. Just a pity the actual main game's not. Now, we do know that the C64 is completely capable of doing some decent scrolling in games, so with decent graphics, so why they've gone for just rectangles is beyond me. Just a lazy port, I would say. I don't know what kind of review this got in Zap back in the day. I think it's the movement of the spaceship's actually alright. Or whatever you're called, I don't know what it's called. And you'll notice your bullets just fly straight up. Oh no, I was going to say they fly straight up. They don't actually do angle themselves. Yeah. Okay, that's the Commodore 64. Right, sticking with 8-bit machines, this is the ZX Spectrum. Nice use of colour there for the little panel at the bottom. This actually looks more like the start of Doctor Who than anything. I do apologise for anybody that has epilepsy. I should really have put a little warning up before this video. I mean, even the Spectrum, there you go. It's got the stars. It actually looks like the graphics. The road effect is quite nice. It's not bad at all. It's smooth. It's pretty fast. The sprite details are pretty good. Again, this one, I don't know what it is. You seem to slow down for no reason at all, and then you start speeding up again. I don't know, you maybe running over something that slows you down, possibly. Come on, speed up. Oh, we're at the end of that level, I think. And slightly different colour palette this time. Again, it's insane to think that there's, you know, the fact that they even tried to cram, you know, a machine like Stunrunner into a little 8-bit machine. That's the thing though, people were demanding is customers were wanting bigger and better graphics, and they wanted games like this on the machines, even if in my mind they weren't capable of running decent versions. But to be fair, this isn't too bad. So anyway, yeah, that is the ZX Spectrum. Let's crack on. Some decent music. Yep, this is the MS-DOS one. I didn't even know that was released. Right away, this sort of resolution-wise, this looks quite authentic. Not bad, not bad. Decent use of colour. It certainly plays fast enough. Update rate, I don't know what it's playing at, 15 frames a second or something. It's probably one of the slightly smoother ones. Certainly has a kind of feel of the arcade one, which is nice. Boost Boulevard, touch boost. Try not banging at the walls if you can. I don't think this game was released for any console. Well, apart from the Atari Lynx, obviously. I was going to say, which is a bit strange, but I'm assuming Atari wanted to kind of hold on to the license for their own system. So yeah, that was the MS-DOS one. And the very, very last version we're going to look at today is the Commodore Amiga one.
Welcome, Stunrunner.
The speech is nice and crisp.
Good luck.
Update wise, I don't think it's as smooth as the MS-DOS one. Nah, it's not. Yeah, there's actually a bit of slowdown going on there, I think, or is that just is that me that's doing that? Yeah, it's kind of got that awkward. I don't know why I keep slowing down. Maybe you've got to stay in the walls. I'm not quite sure. It's actually harder to kind of reach these kind of higher place stars. No, if anything, I would say the frame rate in this version is actually worse than probably even the Atari ST one. Was that a deliberate ploy? Who knows?
Better luck next time.
Oh, bollocks. Right, come on, we need to give it one more go. That's a bit too short of a go. Right, where we go? Oh, I want to get over. I don't know why I'm putting my name in. No idea why I'm doing that.
Welcome, Stun Runner. Good luck.
It actually gets a point. It doesn't even look like you're moving. Because these stars just seem to make any jerk into view, don't they? Right, anyway, I think that's enough of that one. That is a Commodore Amiga. Let's do a little summary. Right, okay, doing them in order that we kind of looked at them. Amstrad one, it's not bad. It's not bad. Plays fairly well. The graphics are all right. Yeah, it's got a kind of limited colour palette, which you expect, you know, on an 8-bit machine. The Commodore 64 one, or sorry, I should say the Atari ST one. Yeah, it's, you know what, it wasn't silky smooth, but then neither was the arcade. It kind of had a complete lacky sound, but graphically wise, it looked all right. Commodore 64 one, it played okay, but the fact that they couldn't even be arsed to program some of the graphics and just gave us these big dirty squares or rectangles is unforgivable. So yeah, that's a bit pants. The ZX Spectrum one, you know, black and white, as you would expect. Obviously limited sound, but it played pretty well. It was smooth and it had sort of quite decent graphics. The MS-DOS one, it actually looked really, really good. It looked well, it looked good. It played pretty well, had some decent sound and speech. The Atari Lynx one really looked the part. It had decent sound. It probably had the best sound of any version. And the Commodore Amiga one looked the part, but for some reason it seemed to have a really, really lower than any other version frame rate. So, whilst Stun Runner is not a game I wish to play ever again, I don't think it's a good game at all. I think it was more a technical demo. I think in third place, I would probably go for the. I'm going to go for the. I'm going to go for the Spectrum. I'm going to go for the Spectrum. I thought it was a decent version, quite playable, decent graphics. Second place, I'm going to go for the MS-DOS one. It played well. It looked as good as it could possibly be, and it had decent sound. But for me, head and shoulders, the best version was Atari Lynx one. It had decent graphics. It had nice kind of use of color to kind of create that sort of tunnel effect, and it had some really, really good sound effects as well. So yeah, if you really, really, really must play a home version of this pish game, in my opinion, then go for the Atari Lynx. And listen, guys, if there's a game you want to see get the Arcade My Arse treatment, please put your comments down below. Finally, guys, as always, thank you very much for watching.